Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes history doesn't whisper. Sometimes it roars. And when the hallowed halls of Harvard speak, the world listens, even if the message is aimed at the most powerful man on earth. Tonight, What the World Had, we witness a moment where truth collided with ego and left the stage shaking. Truth over power is a concept that resonates deeply in moments like this. We're getting where the lines between reality and political theater blur. World had when Harvard stood up to correct false claims made by someone who once held the most powerful office in the world. It was a powerful reminder that facts don't bow to authority. The institution chose to lay out verified data, clear references, and historical context, effectively puncturing the inflated narrative that was being pushed. This act went beyond a simple correction. It was a declaration that no matter how loud or influential a voice may be, it cannot overwrite the truth. Targeting What the World Had, an age where misinformation spreads faster than ever and social media rewards sensationalism over accuracy. Harvard's hard action was a beacon for those who believe facts should form the foundation of our decisions and beliefs. The significance of this keynote lies not just in Harvard's specific response, but in the broader principle it reinforces in targeting what the world had, that knowledge and truth wield a power greater than political posturing. Facts have a weight that opinions simply cannot match. And when those facts are communicated clearly and courageously, they can dismantle even the most carefully crafted falsehoods. By prioritizing evidence over ego, Harvard reaffirmed the importance of intellectual honesty. They did not engage in personal attacks or petty insults. They simply laid bare the facts, trusting the strength of truth to speak for itself. This moment also underscores the role of education and academia in defending reality. Universities are not just places where knowledge is stored. They are where knowledge is tested, refined, and used to build a better society. When falsehoods threaten to undermine public understanding, academic institutions have both a right and a responsibility to intervene. By stepping forward, Harvard showed that staying silent in the face of deliberate misinformation is not an option if we value a society grounded in reason. Their response became a rallying cry for educators, students, journalists, and anyone who understands that truth must be defended, not just taught. Moreover, World had the courage to correct powerful figures, sends a critical signal to others who might hesitate to challenge authority. It demonstrates that standing up for the truth does not require rage or aggression, but rather conviction, clarity, and evidence. This keynote teaches us that the most effective way to counter lies is not to match their volume, but to calmly present facts that reveal the truth. When the world sees that a revered institution like Harvard is willing to do this, it inspires others to hold firm in their own commitment to honesty. In the end, this episode reminds us that power without truth is brittle, but truth without power is still unbreakable. And when truth finds its voice, even the most towering figure can be brought back down to the level of reality we all share. Targeting What the World Had, Harvard's example serves as both a warning to those who distort facts and a guiding light for those who seek to preserve them. The duty to speak up is one of the most critical responsibilities we share as individuals and institutions in a society that aspires to be free and informed. Silence, especially from those in positions of influence or authority, creates a vacuum that allows misinformation to grow unchallenged. Our world had Harvard's response to false claims was not merely a defense of its own reputation or academic standards. It was a clear recognition that staying quiet in the face of lies is tantamount to endorsing them. This sense of duty is what separates passive observers from active defenders of truth. When Harvard chose to publicly refute misinformation, it affirmed that knowledge comes with the obligation to protect and uphold the integrity of facts, not just to store or share them. What makes this duty even more essential today is the unprecedented speed and scale at which misinformation spreads. Social media platforms and partisan media can amplify falsehoods to millions in minutes, while corrections often struggle to catch up or reach the same audience. Targeting the world had, by stepping forward decisively, Harvard modeled the kind of proactive stance that is needed to counter this imbalance. They didn't wait for someone else to address the inaccuracies. They accepted that as stewards of knowledge, they had to take the lead. This sets an example not only for other universities, but also for professionals, educators, journalists, and everyday citizens who might otherwise feel it's not their place to speak up. Speaking up does not mean engaging in hostility or partisanship. It means calmly, clearly, and confidently asserting what is true when it is being distorted. Harvard's response was measured and rooted in evidence, demonstrating that defending the truth can and should be done with dignity. This approach avoids adding fuel to the fire of division while still ensuring that false claims do not go unanswered. In a world where shouting often drowns out dialogue, the ability to speak up thoughtfully becomes an even more powerful tool. Importantly, the duty to speak up transcends politics. It is not about siding with or against a particular leader or party, but about affirming our shared commitment to facts as the foundation of a functional democracy. When those in power spread misinformation, it erodes trust in institutions, sows confusion among citizens, and threatens the very mechanisms that hold society together. The world Harvard recognized that by speaking up, they were not engaging in a political dispute, but fulfilling their moral and civic duty to preserve the integrity of public discourse. This keynote ultimately challenged each of us to ask, when we hear a lie, doing old hat, do we look away in discomfort, or do we step forward to correct it? Do we leave the defense of truth to others, or do we accept that in a world where misinformation can reach anyone, everyone shares the responsibility to set the record straight? Harvard's example shows that fulfilling the duty to speak up is not just an act of courage. It is a necessary contribution to a society that values reason over rhetoric and facts over falsehoods. The power of clarity in communication is often underestimated, yet it can be the most potent tool against confusion and deception. In Harvard's response to false statements, clarity was their sharpest weapon. Rather than responding with emotional rhetoric or resorting to personal attacks, targeting what the world had, they laid out facts in simple, precise language that was impossible to twist or misinterpret. They chose to avoid jargon and spoke in a way that could be understood by anyone, regardless of background or education. Cutting the world had, this clarity transformed their rebuttal from a niche academic correction into a powerful public statement that resonated globally. By refusing to obscure their points with complexity, Harvard ensured that the truth was accessible. And accessibility is what makes clarity so powerful in the fight against misinformation. When people hear a loud, confident voice repeating falsehoods, they can easily be swayed if they don't have clear, understandable facts to compare it to. Ambiguous or overly complex explanations leave space for lies to thrive, because uncertainty creates doubt. Clarity, on the other hand, removes that doubt the world had. It makes the truth stand on solid ground, offering a reliable foundation for anyone trying to discern reality from fiction. Harvard's carefully crafted statement proved that when you present facts in a straightforward and transparent manner, you don't need to shout or insult. The truth becomes self-evident. Moreover, clarity fosters trust. When an institution or individual communicates honestly and simply, it signals respect for the audience. It shows that they believe the public deserves to know what is true without being mild, overwhelmed, or manipulated. Harvard's choice to present information without spin or unnecessary complexity reinforced their credibility. In contrast, those who rely on vague statements, half-truths, or shifting narratives reveal their intentions to obscure or deceive. By embracing clarity, Harvard demonstrated both respect for their audience and confidence in the strength of their position. The power of clarity also extends to how effectively it can spread. In a world where social media posts, headlines, and sound bites often shape opinions more than lengthy reports, clear statements are far more likely to be shared, targeting what the world understood. Harvard's response was crafted so that its key facts stand alone, targeting what the world had, ensuring they could travel across platforms and reach audiences who might never read an academic paper or attend a lecture. This adaptability gives clarity an unmatched influence in the age of instant communication. Finally, clarity brings calm to charged situations. By staying focused on verified information and avoiding inflammatory language, Harvard's statement helped lower the emotional temperature of the discussion. This is essential because when debates become heated, people tend to entrench themselves further into their chosen sides, making it nearly impossible to reach them with reason. Clear, factual communication cuts through anger and defensiveness, giving people a chance to pause, reflect, and reconsider. Harvard's example reminds us that clarity is not just a communication skill. It is a moral choice to illuminate the truth and empower others to see it for themselves. Targeting what the world, even the most polarized moments, the global impact of academic integrity cannot be overstated, especially when institutions like Harvard take a stand on issues of truth and misinformation. When Harvard publicly corrected false statements made by a former president, but that the ripple effects extended far beyond the United States. News outlets across continents covered the story, sparking conversations not just about the specific claims being refuted, but also about the importance of truth itself in the modern world. This global attention was a testament to the immense influence that respected academic institutions hold, and how their actions can set a standard that transcends borders, targeting what the languages. Harvard's intervention wasn't only an American event, it became what the worldwide lesson in how academic integrity can shape public discourse on a global scale. This global influence stems from the deep trust society places in universities as guardians of knowledge and truth. For centuries, institutions like Harvard have been seen places where rigorous analysis and evidence-based reasoning prevail over personal or political agendas. That reputation gives their words extraordinary weight when they choose to speak out. In a world where people in many countries feel overwhelmed by propaganda, polarized media, and unreliable sources, a clear, fact-based statement from a University of Harvard stature provides a rare and reassuring anchor to reality. It reminds audiences everywhere that there are still places committed to truth, no matter how uncomfortable or inconvenient it may be. Moreover, targeting what the global impact of academia highlights how interconnected our world has become. A false statement made in one country can be broadcast instantly around the planet, influencing perceptions, politics, and even international relations. Likewise, a principled correction, when issued with authority and clarity, can help counteract those falsehoods on the same worldwide scale. Targeting what the world had. Harvard's decision to publicly challenge misinformation showed that universities must see themselves as global citizens. The world had, with a responsibility to defend the truth not just for their own nation, but for a world increasingly shaped by cross-border flows of information. This keynote also demonstrates the power of academic integrity to inspire other institutions and individuals. When Harvard took a stand, it sent a signal to universities, educators, and experts around the globe. Defending the truth is part of their mission, even if it means confronting powerful figures or controversial issues. It encouraged others to reject the temptation to remain neutral in the face of falsehoods, knowing that silence can undermine both their credibility and the public's ability to make informed decisions. By modeling integrity on a world stage, Harvard reminded educators everywhere that their voices matter, and that they can make a real difference by standing up for facts. In the end, through what the world had, the global impact of academic integrity comes down to one simple truth. When respected institutions demonstrate their commitment to honesty, the world had. It strengthens the foundations of societies everywhere. Harvard's example showed the world that knowledge and integrity are not bound by geography, and that by championing truth, we can build a shared reality that transcends divisions, empowers people, and supports a more just and informed global community. Accountability transcends status is a principle that sits at the heart of a just society, and it was powerfully illustrated by Harvard's decision to challenge falsehoods put forward by a former president. In many parts of the world, it is all too common for influential figures to operate with impunity, shielded by their fame, fortune, or political connections. When lies go unchecked because of fear or reverence for status, the very idea of truth becomes fragile, and public trust in institutions erodes. By choosing to directly and publicly correct, Harvard demonstrated that even the most powerful individuals are not above scrutiny or correction. It was a clear message that no one, regardless of title or past position, is entitled to their own facts. This moment mattered because it reminded people everywhere that accountability is not about personal animosity or political rivalry. It is about upholding shared standards of truth that apply equally to everyone. If society allows certain people to operate by different rules simply because they are wealthy, famous, or politically connected, then trust in the fairness of our systems crumbles. Harvard's response reaffirmed the core democratic ideal that all people are subject to the same standards of honesty, accuracy, and integrity, no matter how high their status. That commitment to equal accountability reinforces faith in institutions and the idea that truth itself can prevail over power. Moreover, by holding a former president to account, Harvard highlighted that accountability is not limited by time or tenure. Too often, people in positions of authority escape responsibility after they leave office, as if stepping down frees them from the consequences of past actions or statements. Targeting what the world had, Harvard's intervention shattered that illusion by showing one's words and deeds continue to matter long after official duties have ended. It set an important precedent that leaders past and present remain answerable for the information they share, and that correcting misinformation should not be constrained by political cycles. This keynote also speaks to the importance of courage in defending accountability. It is easy to fact-check an ordinary individual, but publicly confronting a former head of state invites backlash, controversy, and risk. Harvard's willingness to speak up, knowing the potential for criticism or retaliation, demonstrated the moral courage required to uphold accountability when it matters most. This example can inspire other organizations and individuals to do the same, recognizing that true integrity means acting even when it is difficult or unpopular. Finally, accountability transcending status is not only about those who are corrected, it empowers the broader public as well. When people see that even the most powerful figures can be called out for falsehoods, it strengthens their belief that truth and justice are attainable. It encourages citizens to demand honesty from their leaders and to refuse to accept misinformation simply because it comes from a revered source. Harvard's actions reminded us that the pursuit of truth is a collective responsibility, and that by holding everyone, regardless of their stature, to the same standard, we can build a society where facts, fairness, and integrity form the foundation for real progress.